Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. We got a story to unpack today. If you got a breakup story you want to share, send it into writemac.com, and I'll unpack it in a YouTube video just like this, or a live stream just like this. Why did my ex move on so quick? Good question. Sometimes it's a simple answer. They met someone else. We'll get into that today, and we'll get into some other things. But the reality is, if your ex moved on so quick, there's some variables involved. There's some big variables involved. Eduardo Martinez, welcome. Martinez. Some big variables involved. First of all, are you surprised? Good question. She's with someone else. It's only been a week. Are you surprised? Did you know her character? Is this a shocker? Is she one of those runaround Sues? Was she boy crazy when she was young? What's up, Jasper J? Are you surprised? And let's put it in another way. Let's put it this way. Let's say you're from the outside in, right? What do I mean by that? Your friend's got a girlfriend he just broke up with. You're fully objective. You might even be biased because it's your buddy, your boy, your comrade. He breaks up. He's like, damn, dude. He's like, she's already with someone else. When you are that friend, and you've been there before, right? You've been there before if you've, had enough friends break up, right? You've been there before. Can't you just tell right away, yeah, I'm not surprised? Has there ever been a time where your buddy breaks up with a girlfriend, she hooks up with someone right away within a week or two, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty much who she is. I'm not surprised. You know what I'm saying? Does that ever happen where you're like, are you really that surprised? I mean, she had 7 boyfriends before you. She's got a couple kids. Are you really that surprised? This doesn't mean that she's, all women are bad or this is what women do to you, these generalizations that are thrown out there. No, I'm talking about this individual that you've known for a little while, you spent some time with, and are you really surprised? Are you really surprised? Now, there can be a case where your ex basically and you, something's changed. Now, let me give you an example of that. Let's say you got a 4, 5, 6, 7 year relationship. Let's just say long term in the 21st century is over 4 years. And you're looking at it and you're like, things have changed. You're in the relationship. She got a new job. She has a new look. She lost some weight. She's never looked better. I mean, she's never looked better. Have you ever seen that when you're like, damn, so-and-so's girl's looking good recently? Whether that's because of the gym, whether that's because she learned how to put makeup on correctly, I don't know. Got a new hairstyle, but you've seen it before, haven't you? You've seen it before. I've seen it before. Right? That's not by accident. That's not by accident. That woman is most likely in a new environment that has upped her game, or she has a new circle of friends or a new job which requires her appearance to be a little bit up. Well, it's really interesting because there are jobs that will bring your appearance to the background. I had a client a while back, I've talked about this before on the live stream, and it was really interesting to me. She was a doctor. I don't know which type of doctor, but doctors, as I said before, it's a prestigious position in most parts of the world. No one goes, oh, you're a doctor? Big wow. Everyone goes, you're a doctor? I'm talking about a medical doctor. And, she was quite busy, passionate about her job. He was proud that he was with a doctor, which most people should be, I think. And, but he said when they would go out, which I've seen this in people that are doctors, correct me if I'm wrong. When they're off their shift, it was sweatpants and a t-shirt, right? It was, and he was like, because I was like, what do you want her to wear? He's like, the way she dresses sometimes in public. I'm like, and he goes, I was thinking he meant a dress or more sexy. And he's like, I'd like her to wear jeans once in a while. I said, what? Excuse me? He was like, she just goes sweats or the scrubs all the time. And he's, for her, if you think about it, most doctors have that type of lab coat on or dress very conservative. And so, being in style or being sexy is not part of their thing. Now, think about it have you ever been to a bank? Right? Inside a bank, to me, a lot of the women are dressed really nice. Right? Even the guys are dressed in suits generally. Maybe not every bank, but they're dressed really smart, clean, right? It's not that those people make $100K, but I have noticed, I have had friends that have worked at a bank, and they start to look better. They start to take care of themselves better because it's part of their job. Everyone around them is well-groomed, right? I worked at a high-end department store in my early 20s. Very high-end, expensive brands. Everyone had to wear a suit. The women had to dress nice. Everyone was looking good. It was part of the job, right? Now, where am I going with that? If your ex does move on quick, it's a product of where they're at right now. What do I mean by that? So if someone there's two parts to this. If she looks really good, and she looks really good, and she gets a lot of attention, she's got a lot of boxes checked. Let's just say she looks really good. She's going to have options off just taking her feet outside of your door. She's going to run into some guy that's hitting on her if she looks that good. Right? Now, there's the other kind that they had a lineup that they, a little back burners that they're pretty good looking. They got things going on, but these guys that are exes, orbiters, some people call them. Some guy that's been jocking them for a while. That's the old school term when I was in high school. And they call him up. Hey, what have you been up to? Da-da-da. And the guy's like, wow, I haven't heard from Mary in about, a year, 2 years. And she's like, oh, I just want to see what you're up to. Correction, as they say in Lion King. Correction, I know your father. He says, no, she's looking to hook up or for you to take the place of her ex immediately because she doesn't feel good about being single. Right? And in this case, when I break down this story, you'll see this woman seems more like the type that just can't be alone. There's some out there that once they break up, they can't be alone, men and women. And they have a lineup that they go through. And now if you have your phone, you have your contacts, and they usually hit up exes first. People just come to me and they go, oh, my ex hasn't contacted me in like a year or 2 years. They just out of the blue. Probably someone's denied them recently, or they broke up with someone, or they stopped dating someone else. The first thing they revert back to a lot of times is an ex because it's comfortable. They feel like they probably won't get rejected. There's a shot there, right? And so that's when I tell people, just because your ex contacted you doesn't mean you're going to get back together. That's not me being negative. That's just, hold your horses a little bit, because people get excited. They email me. They're like, oh my God. I'm just like, all right, you're not ready then. You're not ready. You're way too excited about this. Just go out on a date. Or the worst thing is, before we meet up, she needs to know that I want to get back together. If it's been a year, 2 years, 3 years, please don't do that. You took all the air out of the balloon. She had interest. She has interest, but she doesn't want a lay down, or she doesn't want a thing where you're like, well, if I'm going to come see you, we're going to get back together. That's not going to work for any kind of confident woman with any kind of dignity or respect for herself. All right, we got Eduardo. We got Truth of Love. Mr. Clutch is on deck, I believe. Jenny Jen, Eduardo. I think we got enough to go into this story. And let's just get into it. Hey, Mac, I got a crazy story to share. I broke up with my ex 2 weeks ago. I'm 29 and she's 25. Thanks for the age right up front. That helps. She was cheating on me with 2 different guys. 2 different guys. Wow. At one time? She also has 3 kids with 3 different fathers. So that might be 3 red flags. I know it doesn't sound good already, but it gets worse. Well, it's your story, not mine, my friend. I met her on Facebook through a group we were both in. It started off innocent and fun. I don't know about the innocent part. So I guess, going back to this, you're going to hear me say this a lot. If you meet online, you meet through a Facebook group, you meet through Tinder or any of these things, I don't have a problem with it, but you really don't know that person. Okay, this is just a new development in human beings in getting with each other the last 10, 15 years. In the past, you'd actually know someone from the neighborhood through friends or through church or through work or through school. You might not know them as your partner, boyfriend, or girlfriend, but you knew a little bit about them. You meet someone online, you know zero, zilch, nothing, and it starts out innocent and fun, and you hook up or something like that happens, and you kind of think like, oh, this person's great, they're a good person. Stay tuned, because you don't know them yet, right? Tread lightly. I met her for drinks, and the first night we had tremendous chemistry, and looking back, she really came on strong, which I liked. Well, I'm sure she came on strong if she's got 3 different fathers or 3 different kids. Everyone's got little different boundaries when it comes to intimacy, and I would say that she doesn't have any boundaries. It sounds like, you look good, we have a good chat, you can stay the night tonight after drinks. And you're thinking you're special, right? No offense, but you're going to realize later on probably you're not. And, someone... That brings up a good point. If you're dating a woman or you meet someone for drinks and you hook up with them that night, right, you got to think you're not the first guy to meet up with her and hook up on the same night. Is that something that you would hold against that person? Or the reality is this is the kind of person that probably is going to be more likely to move on quicker. Okay? But I guess I wasn't the only one that got that sort of treatment. The weekend after the Friday night, I stayed at her place. By 2 weeks later, I was staying over her house about 6 nights a week. It was great. Okay. Then about 2 months in, she started complaining that I took too long in the bathroom and needed to cut my nose hairs daily. Wow. Did you take too long in the bathroom? Good question. I mean, did you feel like, hey, I'm sorry. I'll be quicker. She told me I dressed like a slob sometimes. I could go on, but you get my point. No, I don't get your point. I think that there's a legitimate thing if someone takes too long in the bathroom and there's one bathroom. It could be annoying if someone has to go to work or something like that, right? Needing to cut your nose hairs daily, that could be taken in a jokingly term, and maybe you had some long nose hairs and you weren't tending to them. Okay, I can go with that. Telling you dress like a slob sometimes it's over the top. Do you feel like you dress like a slob would be the question. Has anyone else told you that before? And then why did this not be apparent when you were first seeing each other? I could go on. She was knocking me down every chance she got. So this is, 3 kids with 3 fathers. There's been other people that have basically said, yeah, thanks, but no thanks, even though we got kids. And you got this, whenever you're in a relationship and it's early on and someone, whether it's man or woman, just start knocking you down, like you're using that term, putting you down. It's one thing to make a suggestion. It's like, hey, hon, you need to cut your nose hairs, like in private. Oh, you're taking too long in the bathroom. You're a slob sometimes. The tone, the specific parts of it, that could just be who that person is, and they will bring you down because it makes them feel better. A lot of people do that in lieu of the fact that they have low self-confidence or low self-esteem, and it makes them feel good to put you down. And the minute you start answering to that stuff, right, where you start changing your style of clothes for her rather than because you're like, yeah, I could dress a little neater. The answer to that would be, how do you feel about yourself? Right? And it made me lose a lot of confidence. So this is where someone's wrong. It made me lose a lot of confidence. That's a victim statement. That's saying that this person made me lose confidence. No, you allowed them in your head. Happens a lot. 29 years old. You had great intimacy. Everything was going great. She lured you in, right? And then she starts knocking you down. What you have to do is go, do my nose hairs really need to get cut? Do I really dress sloppy? You didn't mention the other things she said, right? Do you agree with these statements? And how were they told to you? In a group? It's one thing. It's like, your nose hairs are disgusting. It's another thing like, hun, can you start cutting your nose hairs a little bit? Can you get in there? See how that tone's just a little bit different, right? So he writes, I kept some of her comments I thought were valid in that I did dress sloppily, but I'm in construction and we don't exactly get dressed up often. I kept trying to make things right and fix things she didn't like about me. But at some point, I kind of lost it and went off on her. I told her to look in the mirror and ask what's wrong with her and start fixing herself. Okay, fair enough. She didn't like that and threw me out. I luckily still had my place. I thought we would make up eventually. I mean, it was our first big fight, but then she ghosted me, and when I finally got a hold of her, she said she was with a new guy, which later I found out was her ex. I, of course, lost my I thought we could get in a fight and make up. She even sent me a screenshot of them having dinner. I thought that was pretty messed up. That's not pretty messed up. That's going for the kneecaps. That says a lot about her character. It says that she's not going to get deeply invested in most men. But to send the picture, that's vindictive. It's mean. And of course you're going to say, oh, that's messed up. It's going to hurt you, right? Because you miscalculated this one. She said she wanted to let me know she was done with my dumb ass. That hurt. But then I made it worse by checking her IG Snapchat that actually showed her out with this guy and another one, whom later found out was an ex also. I actually reached out to one of the guys to ask if they were officially together. He LOL'd me and said, this isn't the type of woman you make official. Wow, this guy's a real Einstein, isn't he? I would tell you the same thing, but hindsight's 20/20. The guy that's an Einstein is the guy making the comment. He said she's a desperado, whatever that means. He told me they see each other, but he isn't serious with her. Friends with benefits, booty call it what you want. But this guy's basically saying, yeah, we hook up from time to time. Ha ha ha. I asked him a couple more questions and he told me to go watch some red pill videos and man up. That's when I went on YouTube and just started searching all kinds of stuff and found your no contact videos. I was amazed that being in no contact is the best policy for moving forward. The thing is, part of me wants her back, I got to admit, and I can't help but think this guy was laughing at not being serious with her while I'm willing to take on her and even be a role model to her kids. Wow. At times I just want to write her or call, but I stop and think, no, it doesn't work that way. Why am I chasing a woman that's so effed up to me? You don't have any other options? That would be number one. Your confidence is pretty low. Number two. Number three, you probably had a past relationship that either was long-term, which I mean 4, 5, 6, 7 years or longer, and you went through some ups and downs, but you never broke up. Because what happens is people from the outside are going like, well, how does this guy do this? How would he end up with a woman like this? He's never met one before, so he has no playbook on it. He's never been a part of it, most likely. So his past girlfriend, maybe they were together 4, 5, 6 years. Just like he mentions, oh, we had our first real fight. I thought we'd get back together, because that's something he did in the past with girlfriends. So he's never seen this before. You're chasing her because you had a different view of the relationship than she did. She rejected you, and you're surprised by it. And so you want to close that loop. Why can't I move on? The answer to that is you can move on. It's just going to hurt a lot for a little while. You didn't say how long this was, but I'm thinking months, not years. It's going to take you hurting a little while. And, people don't listen to me about this, but you got to get off social media immediately. You can't check up on people. You can't call their exes and ask for details. It's not going to make you feel better. You got the information you needed. She was in and out, literally. No pun intended. And even if you got this woman back, you would never trust her. Sending you a picture a week after with another guy and saying, I'm done with your dumb ass, that hurts. But it also creates a lot of clarity in the sense that you're done. So you can move on. It's going to hurt a little while. You got to accept that. But at some point, you got to get up off the mat and say, I'm 29 years old. Am I capable of meeting someone equal or higher value? Right? That's what it is. Why did she move on so quick? She's got 3 kids with 3 different dads. She's got some experience. Okay? I'm going to guess that, I said earlier, if you look good, you're going to have more options post-breakup. Surprise, surprise, especially women. But I would say a woman that puts out really easily, no offense to the woman on here, but and you might have friends like this, right? You might know a woman that, like, she'll sleep with a guy on the first night no matter what. That's just her style. That's her prerogative, whatever. She's going to have more options, right? It sounds like this guy that was LOL when he's like, you don't make a woman like this official, ha, 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 and they're already hooking up. She doesn't have the boundaries and morals you have, right? She belongs to the street, says Kevin, as the great Corey Wayne says. It is, but the thing is, here's a big lesson that everyone's got to learn, and it comes up in my head a lot dealing with people. Don't blame people for being who they are. A lot went into that. I'm not asking anyone to have any remorse or pity for this woman, but she is who she is. She's got 3 kids with 3 different fathers. Most likely she had a bad childhood, maybe not for sure, but whatever's gotten her to this point at 25, this is who she is. And you going around trying to figure out why, well, then you'd have to sit in therapy with her for a year or 2 and just figure out the whole chutes and ladders and the path that she took to get to this point in this behavior, right? But the bottom line is she's got immediate options out of the breakup that she's satisfied with that makes her feel good for a day or 2. And there are some people too that, let me add this to it. You guys can hook up for a few months. You met online. You don't have a really deep understanding of each other. And within months, one of the people can just go, yeah, I'm done. You dress like a slob. I'm not really into it. And the other person's like, wait a minute, we had something serious here. Yeah, you had a misunderstanding, right? And this is what people don't get in relationships. Your understanding of what a good relationship is or what it's supposed to be is based on your life experience, past relationships, and your childhood. And their understanding is based on that. And guess what? They're not the same. That's why when you start dating and you start going out, and if you're serious about having a monogamous long-term relationship, you really got to start vetting a woman, or for a woman, a man, or vice versa, or if it's a gay relationship, whatever. You gotta figure out what you want to look for. Now, if you get fooled, it can hurt, right? You got rejected, fine. But going around saying, how could they do this? I can't believe this. Believe it. Shit like this has been going on since the beginning of time. How many years? I mean, there's not maybe a lot of women that have 3 kids by 3 different fathers, but it ain't an albino in the wild. Okay? It's not that rare. It's possible. There's women out there like this. You just met one. Guess what? Stay away. Put caution tape around your phone. Don't call her. Right? Don't call her. Stay off the social media. You found out who she was. You cracked the case. Unfortunately, she's not going to jail. And guess what? You can blow the whistle. You can tell everyone about it. And you can go, look what she did to me. And people will listen. Friends, family, I'll listen. I'll give you my take just like this. In a live coaching session for an hour or 2 hours, we'll get deeper on it. We'll explore it. We'll go all through the nooks and crannies of it. But guess what? At the end of the day, at some point, everyone's going to go, when you did like this, hey, man, you're lucky to get out early. Let her go. Catch and release. C'est la vie. Move on. Where's your gusto? Have some dignity. Keep your balls. I can go on, right? I'll be looking to do a coaching session soon, but please read this out on a YouTube vid. Surely others are going through something similar. Sure. And what the coaching session will do is just lay everything out, right? To a point where you get just more clarity and clear. Because right now you're caught in your feelings and you just want her back and you don't have other options. You don't have other options, and you thought the relationship was more than it was. And I'd add, you didn't see this coming. Someone went through a red light at an intersection. You didn't even see it coming. You just got it right now. Stay off the social media. Go into no contact. As the great Dayon mentions. How you doing, Dayon Chestnut? Go on self-improvement journey. Work on yourself. Your ex will end up chasing you, and at the end of your journey, you most likely don't want her anyways. Self-improvement saved me from the mistake. Kevin says she belongs to the streets. Welcome, Kevin. I don't think I've seen you on before. Jenny, you can't expect you out of someone else. Don't women naturally have an instinct to move on faster when they chose to, since they have the time frame to have kids? How you doing, by the way, bud? Let me reread that if I'm getting it correct. Don't women naturally have an instinct to move on faster when they choose to, since they have the time frame to have kids? My short answer, yes. Depending on the age and how good they look. So she's 25. She's probably at a very good part of her life. Don't worry, I'm not the grammar police. I misspell words all the time, and I'm a teacher or a former teacher. Yes, the short answer would be yes, bud, but not always. But what I would say is that two things. If a woman's good looking, they're going to have more options out of the gate. Okay, that's if they work at a public place. I've talked about this before, and they become single. The hyenas will come out for the wounded. If she's crying at work, literally, I've seen guys do this too. She's crying at work. She just broke up with a 5-year, 4-year relationship, love of her life. And some guy's going, oh, let's talk about it at lunch. And then he'll ask her this. I've had clients tell me, there's already guys asking me out at work. Some guy's sending me flowers. So these were good-looking women in their late 20s, early 30s. When men come to the workplace and they have teary eyes or red eyes and women see them, they don't want to go out with them. They're not like, oh, maybe there's a small few, but they don't find that attractive. Men look at it like, oh, she's single. Here's my chance. Here's my opportunity to see if she's interested in me. Right? Now, the other part of this is, there's women out there that just put out easy. That's just how they are. They don't hold the punani with a big lock around it. It's just like, you know what? If I like the guy, hook up. Those women actually end up with guys quicker. They end up with some, that doesn't necessarily mean they filter for a better guy, but if they go out on dates and they put out, and I'm not suggesting this to everyone, right? They end up coming out of a relationship with a new guy quicker. They never are single. I've known women like this. They're never single. They're never single for more than 3 weeks or a month, because they'll go whoever they meet next, they'll rock his world. They'll put everything they have into it, and they'll live with the guy within the next day. And they say the way to a man's heart is his stomach. There's another way to a man's head and his heart, right? And we know what that is, right? Sabina says, I can't move to the other guy if I love someone else. I believe you, Sabina. I'm not saying this is an absolute rule. I'm not saying it's an absolute rule. In the case of this story right here, where we have a woman that's been with that has 3 different fathers, 3 different kids, hooked up with him on the first night, right? Hooked up with him on the first night. They had incredible chemistry, met him online. Not judging it at all. I'm saying that he doesn't realize that she probably uses that same playbook when she meets someone else. And guys if she's good looking and she's good with her intimacy, she's going to be able to hook another one. And it's not, and if she doesn't invest feelings and time into it a whole lot, she's experienced and just breaking free. I found someone new. Masala family. Hi, Coach Mac. Greetings from UAE. I have a question. My boyfriend of 5 years broke up with me and chosen his parents. Ooh, I made your video, actually. I just haven't put it up yet. You're Filipina, right? He is from Indian culture. I'm not. What advice can you give me so he can be back? I actually made a video of your story, Masala family, and I do remember it. So you were with a man from southern India, I believe, 5 years, and he could not leave. He had to leave you because his parents, correct? Masala family. It's actually very common. I've had other Indian clients that can't say no to their parents. I mentioned meeting the Patels is a great documentary on that. Even if you got him to choose you over his parents, wouldn't there be resentment from his parents and him over time? The other part of that is he's a man. I believe you told me he was 29 in the past. I have a very good memory. I believe he was 29. I could be wrong. And you said you've been together these years and he's kept this away from his parents and finally told you. And he said, just leave me. We have to do this. So he's choosing his parents over you, but you were kind of blaming the parents. He's a man. He's 29. The thing about these kinds of situations, you got to call the parents' bluff. And usually if the parents love the child, they'll come around. But I would add, though, if he's really close to his parents and he says, screw it, you're my girlfriend, I want to make you my wife, we're living together. And then every holiday or every time you're around the parents look at you like you stink, like you're the worst thing around. They give him crap all the time. What kind of life is that? Getting married and having a long-term relationship, if someone's close to their family and their parents, you're marrying into that. And it could break you. It could break you. So what I would say is, right now, 5 years is a long time. I'd definitely recommend you do a live coaching session, Masala family. And I would probably say if you're from a Filipino background, I got a lot of friends from the Philippines growing up in California. And even in Phuket, Thailand, where I live, there's a large Filipino population. You usually have really good family ties. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is kind of foreign to you that anyone would do this. So you're going to have trouble even understanding where they're coming from. And the fact that you got to win over parents when you believe you're a good person already, relationships are hard enough, right? I don't mind if parents are tough in the beginning or hard to deal with. But before you even get your foot in the door and have dinner, they're already like, no. They're already, we want him with someone better than you. That's pretty harsh. He's already at a point where he feels some kind of shame or guilt to even share that he's with you. That's harsh. I don't know how you change that. The only way you change that is you back off and you let him sit in the breakup. And you let him make a decision without having half of you or 20% of you. You don't talk to him. You don't text him. You go, look, this is what it's like to be without me for 5 years. Sit in it. And then he's got to make a decision based on consequences. Because right now he keeps telling you, oh, don't be with me. He's got you as an option all the time. You've never taken it away. And that's when things get real. I'm a bit of a social media break at the moment, though. Jesse's on. We need to catch up, chat. Okay. Coming back to Bud Rum's question, though, don't women naturally have an instinct to move on faster when they choose to, since they have the time frame to have kids? Like I said, just to reframe that, because it was a good question. That's going to be in relationship to how many options they have based on their looks, based on where they're at. But I would add there's some morals and values to that. There's some people that circle out of a relationship quicker. But think about what my example was earlier, right? And if you've ever worked at a place with multiple people, or even when you look back when you were in college or school and someone that's good looking breaks up, they have options immediately. Now, if you think about it for men, because men's situation would be different. If a man gets out of a relationship and they have a lot of confidence and they look good and they make good money and they dot a lot of the I's, it's not going to be long for them either. There was a client of mine a while back. They were married 20 years. They didn't sleep together for 4 years. They slept in separate rooms. He caught her cheating, literally on recording. He put his phone in her purse and left it on record and caught her whole conversation that she was banging her boss, basically, and confronted her on it. They ended up getting a divorce. And he was, it was funny because when I talked to him, I was thinking to myself, this guy made like good money, went to the gym. A lot of women would find him attractive, and his kids were out of school, and he already had from his job, he dealt with a lot of people. He's in a sales job, so he dealt with a lot of different clients privately, and he already had women texting him and emailing him because, and he was like, I don't even know how to date anymore. But he hit the ground running because of where he was out as an individual. So when people are going to hit someone up right after how long they recover from a breakup, if they have a bunch of options right out of the gate, that's going to help things. Now, if they have some kind of child trauma, or they're not good with abandonment or rejection, or there's an open loop to the breakup. So like Masala family, there's 5 years breakup here, and there's nothing to do with anything she did wrong. It all has to do with the parents saying no to the boyfriend and the boyfriend accepting that. And she can't accept that because to her that would never happen. It's like speaking a foreign language. Like why would you ever let your parents make that decision in the name of 5 years of love? You just can't understand it because you're not in the relationship he has with his parents. And like I said, what you got to do is you got to release that. You got to let him sit in it. You got to let him sit in it. And trust me, he thinks in the back of his head, because you were crying at the end and you were wanting him back and you were desperate and you were needy, that was just going to continue. Guys come to me all the time and they go, oh, she stopped calling me. I thought she would fight harder. Oh, I thought she would do this more. Everyone has a stopping point, and then it gets real. And it's like, if you break up with me and I don't agree with your reason, you don't agree with his reason, Masala family, do you? Right? You're like, I can't understand this. We've been together 5 years. You're a grown man. I know you love me. I know I've been a good girlfriend, if that's the case. Right? And you're going to break up with me because your parents said are not happy with it, and they never met you? That's the part I don't like. Like I said, they haven't even met you, if I remember the story correctly. So what are you going to get into? Because you got to do this no contact, not with the idea of he sits in it, and if he wants to come back, it's got to be on his own. You're not talking him into it. But you got to think to yourself, do I want to deal with this? The parents aren't going away. Even if he tells the parents, you know what, I'm going to make that decision, the parents are still not going to be easy around you. Right? I don't want to have to win over your parents. And this is one of those things, I say it in the video. People need to start looking a little deeper when you come out of a breakup, right? And this is something Jesse Chapman knows because we've done some coaching together. You got to start taking notes on what you don't want for the next one, right? Whatever happens here, Masala family, there is a chance that this guy comes back to you and you work it out. Maybe there's a chance that the parents come around because it's only been 3 weeks. There's a chance. I'm not going to erase that. I'm not going to dissipate that. You do need to stay in no contact, though. But here's the thing. Here's the bigger picture, as Jesse just said. Moving forward, don't date another guy. Ask him up front, hey, is your parents a big deal about, vetting who you're with? Right? And then you just go immediately, like, I'm not going to date another person like that again. Ask him up front, hey, does your parents have a problem with you dating outside your race? Blade Bynum, always a pleasure, Double B. Thought I'd pop in and take a listen. I like options. Yeah. Options are important. And this is why people circle out of relationships quickly. They pivot out. The part about this story that I just told too is like, if you're only together for a few months, you really don't know the person yet. You met them online. You really don't know them yet. There's some liars out there. There's some smooth operators. My friend's daughter married an English Indian gentleman, and the process of the parents' approval was big. The first thing they didn't like, the daughter's parents were divorced. I mean, it's one of those things. I've had Indian clients come to me. It's tough. It's tough. They're very rigid in that way. Now, are all of them the same? No. So then you need to ask the questions up front and ask if you want to deal with that. Right? You got to you That's tough. I as a grown adult, I've had 4 serious relationships where I've met the parents kind of thing. And I've met parents for, when you're in high school and you go to a prom or a dance like that. And it's like, the way you get treated now looking back at the prom or those kinds of things, like if you get into a long relationship with those people, those parents are going to be around for, they're going to be around a while. They're going to be in your business. They're going to affect your life, your energy. So if you're around someone and their parents create a lot of problems for your partner, they're going to create a lot of problems for you. They're going to create a lot of problems right off the bat. And then you got to feel bad that your parents got divorced and explain yourself. That seems like an uphill battle, right? Beware of that. I mean, the better question for you to start to get out in front of it is, when you start dating someone, you ask them about, what's it life with your parents? I find it interesting when I meet someone and they hate their parents. They hate them. It's like, whoa. I don't talk to my mom. I hate her. I known someone out there before that was a friend of mine. And I think he grew up with like 5 or 6 brothers and sisters. It was a big family. And he said they grew up kind of poor. But all the kids are very successful. He's got a lot of money himself now. And I think his mom's in her late 80s. And he's like, no, I don't talk to her. I don't like my mom. She's a horrible person. Whoa. Okay. She never liked me. I was never one of her favorites. Now, I've never dealt with that before. Okay? I've got a great mom. I've had some things in my family that have happened and stuff like that, right? But off the get, when I hear something like that, is this person going to have more trouble in relationships if they view their mom that way? Are they gonna find a way to hate you? Because at some point he loved his mom, right? When he was young. And I don't know all the ins and outs of what happened. I don't know what happened. But when I hear stuff like that now, I'm like, damn. You gotta go to therapy, go to a coach, do some hypnotherapy to figure out. Maybe you don't want to talk to your mom, but to hate, I'd like to help him with that, to be honest. But those are things, when I have friends or something like that, they got to ask me. But your important relationships, whether it's your mother and father, your grandparents, past exes, if you hate them, if you hate them with a passion or feel like they didn't love you enough or they gave you a raw deal, you're going to project that on other relationships. You're going to project that into other relationships. And I'm not saying that you need to go back and make nice with your mom or anything like that, but you have to find a way to get to peace with it or acceptance. Because, like I said, it'll rev up in other parts of your relationships. Blade says, take notes on what you don't want again, but also take notes on what not to do yourself again. Own some of it. I agree, Blade. And the thing is, that's when all relationships don't become a waste. So this is a common theme for men and women, especially women, but men do it too. The older we get, people like mid-30s up usually go, I don't want to waste my time, or I wasted a lot of time. No, you didn't. Because I got to guess, if you were together, you had some good moments. And what you don't realize, I'm going to hammer this a lot, your life is moments. What's prolonged? What's prolonged? Think about that for a minute. Your life is moments. You had some good moments, you had some bad moments. What happens when you get stuck is you're actually stuck in a moment. During the breakup, they said this, they said that. Oh, I remember when they called their ex, they did this. You're stuck in moments that were literally 5 minutes, 10 minutes that sprang up harsh feelings that you keep reliving. Right? You just keep reliving them. And then you're like, what? Why can't I get this out of my mind? I'd suggest hypnotherapy for that stuff. You need to rewire some stuff. I really would. If you want to do a hypno session with myself. You don't realize it, but it's just moments. And if you were with someone 1 year, you had some great moments, man. It's just weird. The human brain goes back to the back ones and they're like, oh, I just wanted that to continue. It's all moments. Nothing ever lasts. But the good news is there's more moments to come. And what about just the basic moments that are just at peace? I went to my favorite cafe this morning, had a green omelet, zucchini, feta cheese, some baby tomatoes, some sourdough toast, a nice iced Americano. It was beautiful. Had the staff come up to me that I really liked, give me a smile, some small talk. Just felt good. Nice. Just nice. Content. At peace. Wrote out some emails, got back to some people, did a coaching session this morning with one of my past clients, did some hypnotherapy with her. She had a great experience from the hypnotherapy. It's funny, I'm not going to dwell on any of that. Those were great moments. Was it wasted time? Can't have it back. None of it's wasted. It's all meaningful, right? But what people think is like when you finalize a breakup and you go, oh, I wasted all this time because of that final moment. Hell no, you didn't. Because even this story that I just shared with this guy, right? He's dating someone with 3 kids, 3 different fathers. They had great 2 months. They lived together. They had great intimacy. Can't take those moments away. But he's dwelling on the moment when he found out she's seeing someone else. He talks to the guy. Moment. You'll get back on deck. Masala family, you'll get back on deck, hun. No contact. It's difficult. That's why people don't like it. And also it's simplistic. Because you're like, it can't work. It can't be that way. Nah, it works in 5 different directions, but you feel like you're not doing anything. But reality is what you're doing is you're refraining from doing bad things that might hurt you. Like checking social media, like calling them and getting rejected again, right? She says I would have asked that question. And well, hindsight's 20/20, hun. But guess what? Now you know, and knowing's half the battle, as G.I. Joe used to say. Right? Now you know. And this is how you learn, by the way. This is how you learn. And when he does call you, because I'm going to tell you something, he's probably going to call you if you had 5 years and you were a pretty good girlfriend. 3 weeks, I'd say another week to 2 weeks, he calls you. Come on the show and tell me I'm correct. He calls you. He might not call you to get back together. Oh, how have you been? Oh, what have you been up to? He's fishing to see if like you still want him back because he still wants you as an option. But he's not going to stand up to his parents if he hasn't standed up to him in 5 years. If anything, he'll probably want to restart a relationship that's casual to good, that he doesn't have to talk to his parents again, but you guys can keep seeing each other. If I were you, if that comes on the plate, you go, no, thank you. We're going to have to talk to your parents in person, and I'm going to have to get a feeling if this is going to work for me. You don't, if he's close to his parents and you're going to be long-term, right? I don't want to, every time I meet your parents, I don't want your parents looking down at me if I feel pretty good about myself. I already got a set of parents. I don't need to be judged by them. I don't mind a reciprocal relationship that, once in a while they might be critical or something. I could deal with that in small doses. But to just be like, oh, this person instantly is not approved and you haven't even met them? Psst. Think about that for a minute. That's something you get sued for in the working world. I used to hate my father, but I came to realize that was me not disconnecting from him. Now I don't feel anything towards him, especially negative. I just moved on mentally. Well, I think Bud Rums, I think what really helped you, and I know Bud Rums because he's done coaching with me before, is the fact that you got into yoga and meditation, and I think I could share the fact that you just stopped alcohol, any kind of drugs, and these are the kind of things that can help clear your mind of stuff like that. I think that was probably a big help in you being able to disconnect rather than hate. So you're not saying that you necessarily forgave him for everything or want to be close to him again, but you just accepted what it is, right? Which is difficult, but I think the fact that you've done a lot of work is part of it. Lucy Beatty, interesting name, just joined. He blocked after no contact. I was working on me. He was sending me Instagram of him and the next woman. We had good times, but just don't know what he wants. Well, the question is, Lucy, what do you want? What do you want? Don't get caught up in what your ex wants. Because if you're caught up in what your ex wants and you have to ask again, that means you don't want what they want. Like if they say, I want you to do this, this, and this, and I want this out of a girlfriend, I want that, and this, does it line up with you? It should just fit like a puzzle, right? If you're sitting there trying to figure out what the other person wants, when does Lucy come in and go, hey, I want this? I mean, at what point are you going to take care of Lucy Beatty? Right? I mean, you really got to take care. I mean, if you go through a relationship and don't get what you want or something close to it, or negotiate some things that you get and some things that you don't, there's trade-offs, right? Lucy, by the way, I need to know your full story. Send it in to writemac.com. My Greek neighbor used to tell me, you can't recapture what was. You know what's really interesting about that too is if you look back at your good moments, it's hard to get the feeling back, right? It's hard to get the feeling back. Think about your greatest intimacy. How about that one for a moment? Put down the Rolodex in your brain. What was the greatest intimate moment I had with a woman? Your mind starts wandering. You start going into it. Okay. Now you got it. Wow, I didn't know that was first place. You get surprised. Do you relive that moment very often? No. It's kind of interesting, but you relive your breakup over and over and over again. Learn as you date. Every failed relationship gets you closer to the one that will last. And I'd add, every relationship does teach you something. It sounds cliche and kind of cheesy, but it's true. It's true. And in the fog of the breakup and the gray area and the hurt and the pain, once you come out of that, it comes really clear. I use that hypnotherapy track in the morning and night, sometimes at work. Right on, Jesse. I just did a hypnotherapy session with someone this morning, Jesse, and she did the same thing. She came out of it a little early because she was excited. She was so excited about where I took her in the hypnotherapy session that she's like, oh my God, the hair just raised up on my neck and my back. Oh my God. She was excited. Let's see here. It's kind of interesting though, huh? Yeah, I was just saying, Jesse, to her that it was funny that about the same time frame of the hypno. All right, 12 on deck, 5 likes. I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer direct questions today. Topic was, why did my ex move on so quick? If you have a situation where you had an ex in the past that moved on quick, maybe share it in the live stream. That'd be great. And what happened afterwards? I know that I think one of my relationships, I felt like an ex moved on kind of quick. But the minute I found out that she was talking to someone else, it hurt. I didn't like it, but I thought, I'm done. I'm not going to try to hang out anymore. I'm not going to compete. We're done. I was the one to break up with her, so it was different, I guess. But that's another thing. Do you want to compete with someone? When someone says they moved on quick, do you want to compete with them? Sometimes when they move on quickly, they were building up that moment for months prior. And sometimes they have someone waiting. They have someone they were interested at work. They might have been, I hate to say this because it's not always the case, but people assume it. They might have been seeing someone already, right? They might have been already greasing those wheels a long time ago. But this is where I don't like to get too deep into this because I don't want people to take what I'm saying right now and go, oh yeah, that's what happened to me. Seriously, you need to unpack it in a coaching session and lay it all out, because sometimes your intuition's wrong in the case of breakups. And the reason your intuition's wrong is you want to believe something different. So your intuition will be wrong when you want to believe something different. Cognitive bias. So if you really don't like the idea that your ex would just leave you because they're not attracted to you anymore, your brain will come up with other ideas. Oh, the new guy she's with is total manipulator. I can't believe she's with him. No, the reality is she broke up with you because she's not attracted to you any longer. That's okay, right? Do you agree with her? Can you see her point? Or do you feel good about yourself and you could meet someone else? There's a difference. There's a big difference. I mean, I don't follow the Hollywood gossip, but it seems like people pivot out of Hollywood relationships pretty quick, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like they go long. I guess they can't keep things a secret, though. I wouldn't want to be a Hollywood person and have to deal with relationships because number one, nothing's private. Number two, you never know who genuinely likes you just for you, and people fall in love with the character that you played in the movie. They don't really know you, right? They don't really know you. That must be difficult. That must be really difficult. Because there's some things that movie stars are not sharing. The other thing people do when your ex moves on really quick is you do a bunch of research on who they're with. Don't do that. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. I remember there was one guy that he's like, he's everything I'm not. The guy was like a professional football player, in great shape, really good looking. This guy had hit the wall because he had an injury, 6 months prior. I mean, he was no competition for the guy, and he knew it. And he was doing all this research on the guy, and it was like, why do you keep looking this guy up? So you can use that in a few different ways. You can use it as motivation, or you can use it as feeling inferior. It's a choice. Anytime you start to feel bad about yourself post-breakup, the parts that you feel bad about, oh, I'm fat, that's why they left me. All right, well, then go to work on it. Not for them, but for you. People are motivated by consequences, heartbreak, crisis. That's what they're motivated by. That's why breakups are always an opportunity. Heartbreaks are always an opportunity to get you back on deck, to get you motivated. What makes people stay the same is comfort. Have you ever seen a friend that's been in a 10-year relationship? They got the house, they got the car, they got the kid, they got the job, right? And they look like shit because they eat a lot, or they don't work out anymore, or they're comfortable. They're comfortable. That's okay. But those are the ones, if something goes wrong, it gets really hard because they haven't seen uncomfortable times in a long time. Right? Some people are filtering for that. They're like, that's exactly the life I want. Give me a lazy boy, big screen TV, give me some junk food. I'm good. $15 on deck today, 7 likes. Does anyone want to share their story here? I've got about 30 minutes left. Little intermission here. Good for you, Jesse. David Goggins is a legend. What an incredible example of perseverance. I mean, if anyone ever thought they had a hard life, read David Goggins' book. What's up, Swordfish? Enjoying the show so far? Good to hear from you, buddy. Mr. Danny. Let me see. I'm going to go through some of my comments here. Give me a minute. So these are the kind of messages I get sometimes. People, rather than people sending their story in, which if you want help, send your story into writemac.com or book a live coaching session. I'll give you a refund if you don't find the session useful or helpful. That's my commercial. That's my guarantee. Here's one. I'm in a long-distance relationship. He's been traveling for work for 1.5 years, and he says he wants this but won't leave a job that he's working 24/7. I don't want to give up. But how long do I wait? Been praying for answers. So I responded, everything is a trade-off and a choice. Is it possible you can move there? Why does he want to keep this job? So sometimes people think that they're stuck, but there's actually more options than they think. But they've become comfortable with just, being merciful to their problems. So I wrote back. So she wrote back, thank you for your reply. You are right. He's in Mexico and goes somewhere else every few months. He's been trying to get a hold of HR to get a break, but no one responds. It's his choice to stay or leave job. Do you offer one-on-one coaching? I said, yeah. But I wrote, go to my website, I'll provide. I'd suggest he talk to someone higher up than HR. Oh, he can't get a hold of HR. Can he get a hold of someone else higher up? This is when people just give up. But dealing with someone that's job comes first, you got to ask yourself, is the job coming first? Is the job coming first because they need the money or they're addicted to it? There's so much to unpack from that rather than just ask me a question. You know what I mean? When you ask me a question, I can't really help you as well as if we do a live coaching session and get to the bottom of it. It's totally different. Let's see here. Hi, coach. My ex reached out to me after many insignificant messages. Then she asked me to talk and to unblock her on her number. When I didn't respond after 5 minutes, she said, okay, it's your wish. What should I do? Please give me some advice. See, this is the stuff that it's like, I need to know your full story, right? Think about that for a minute. Oh, my ex just blocked me. What should I do? Well, what happened? I mean, is your relationship that shallow? I mean, if you think someone can give you instant good advice, like Nostradamus, and know exactly what to say, I need to know your situation. My ex reached out to me after many insignificant mentions, then asked me to talk and to unblock her number. When I didn't respond after mine, she said, okay, it's your wish. It's like, what do you want? I mean, what game are you trying to play? Here's another one. My ex told me she is in a new relationship today on my birthday. I never felt so disrespected. I'm so hurt right now. All I want to say to her is that I regret to date her. What kind of person tells you that on your birthday? Well, someone that's not very caring or thoughtful. My question would be, did she know it was your birthday? You know, like what was, these are questions that's asked. Did she know it was your birthday? Was she a forgetful person? Of course, I blocked her. I deserve more respect. I want more respect. I will be respected. We are not together. That doesn't mean she can disrespect me. I'm done, and good luck to the new guy. He will need a lot. 2 years together, and she can't even respect me. How foolish was believing we were great together. So I responded. I said, she just told you who she was. You wouldn't have done that to her. Okay, but regardless, she told you something you needed to know to move on. See, that's a big one. The fact that that pissed you off, you're going to move on now, right? Hi, I didn't say anything to her. I wanted to say all of those things, but I reply, okay, I'm very hurt, but I can't be mean to her. It's not on my way of life, but I admit that would never imagine that she would do this to me. Yeah, my main question would be, how long had it been? I mean, is this a year later? Is this 1 month later? See how time frame counts? And like I said, do you think she remembered it was your birthday? Did she say happy birthday and I'm so happy with someone else? Some people are just not mindful. They're just not mindful. They just, you know, is she the type of person that's forgetful or vindictive? There's two different things. Someone else wrote, I blocked my ex-boyfriend on all social media app and his phone number because for the fact they didn't really care about relationship, neither pay much attention to me and how I did with them. Explaining how I feel multiple times was exhausting. Well, that's a good reason to block them. Oh, here we go. I left the faithful and loving ex who was willing to leave the mother of his child for me, and I never looked back. Even he wasn't damaged goods, I still wouldn't go back. God led me to a different man who is now my husband. Sometimes the grass is indeed greener. Rob, what's up, buddy? It's been a while. Wow, we got a dream team on today. Bernice Muir, the Kiwis on deck. New Zealanders are good people. Let's see here if we got some more here. Seeing them hurts you. Serious question. How unhealthy is it to watch? Oh, here's a good one. This was a question that came on a long time ago. This person sent this in. Seeing them hurts you. Serious question, they write. How unhealthy is it to watch intimate videos you've made with your ex? What a fucking title. Even though we were disastrous for one another, the sex was great and has been hard to forget. Ah, what an interesting topic. We got 15 on deck, 9 likes. I can talk for about another 25 minutes. Intimate videos that you made with your ex. Wow. I would say that wouldn't help you move on. I would say that that's going to keep you in that moment. That's going to also make you believe that that's the best you can do. And the fact that you're getting off to those videos, even if it's not going to help you, it's not going to, no, it's, I don't think it was against, it says, how unhealthy is it to watch intimate videos you've made with your ex? You've made with your ex, right? Like I said, if you're coming out of the breakup, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. I would say that's the equivalent of watching their social media, because you're going to be putting up in high regard, especially if you're not getting any action in the meantime. Interesting question, though, isn't it? Interesting question. I would actually erase them and delete them and get rid of them so that, you know, they weren't available. I'm sure she wouldn't be happy that you're watching them. Let's see here. This was an interesting one. My girlfriend keeps hanging out late with guys at night. I mentioned to her how I feel, and yet she said she loves me, but she keeps doing this. Well, you got to set your standards and your morals. And I just had someone recently tell me that they just broke up with their girlfriend because she kept talking about a guy and texting him and saying it was just her friend, but she'd talk about him in a glowing way, how great he was. You decide what the line is in your own relationship for that. That's different. Different people have different lines for that. Hanging out with guys late at night is a big no-no. I'd have to ask more questions. Why is that even a case? Right? And if she's ignoring you, what are you going to do about it? I think dealing with a breakup while dealing with depression in the beginning of a pandemic and losing your job at the same time is up there with the worst case to be. I personally know that because that's exactly what I went through. Well, ground zero is sometimes a good place to be because you can only go up. And that's the truth. So does he have a problem with her hanging out with men in the daytime? That's a good question, but it is different late at night. Let's face it. It is different. I've blocked one person ever, and he was not an ex, but he really earned it. I'm still talking to Mac during my current relationship better than waiting till a breakup because he's been helping me, pointing out some of my weaknesses I still have to work on. Thanks, Bud Rums. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'd say that I've had that recently. Past clients that came to me for breakups that are in new relationships. Yeah, it's great. It's great for me to be there because I know you already. And I know what you've been through. I know your outlook. So we don't have to go through all that stuff again. And we can kind of sort through what you want to do in your current relationship. And it's good because sometimes a breakup happens because you're being impulsive or you're being unreasonable. So to talk to someone before you do it, because once you do it, it's very hard to pull back. And that's what happens once you say you're going to break up with someone, you go there. There's some people, myself included, it's hard. If you break up, if it's your decision, I'm not going to just jump back in with you because you broke the rope. So when you're in a deep relationship, you got to be crystal clear that that's what you want to do, and you have your reasons, and you have valid reasons, and you feel good about those reasons. That being said, like I've told a lot of people, if you hold things in for too long and you take the high road, that's when you erupt. That's when you go nuts. That's when you break up on a whim. And then a week or 2 weeks later, you're like, actually, I just want them back. I kind of forgive them for what they do. Because it's darker than you think. Every time, if you break up with someone you really love, or you've been with her a little while, it's going to be harder than you think. Even if you have your reasons. Even if you think you're tough. Right? So talking to me prior to breaking up is actually very proactive. And there's been plenty of times in those situations where I've actually had a client where I didn't take the other person's side, but I objectively told them, well, look, if they're meeting you halfway on the bridge or they're correcting these things, then, I mean, what else do you want, right? And then there's just some things that are, over time, if you're losing intimacy or you're losing some things, you need to talk about why those things are occurring, because sometimes in real time, you don't really see it. All you see is what you're not getting. You don't see how you got there. That's what I can help you with usually, just by asking good questions, right? Does anyone have any closing questions? We got 11 on deck, 9 likes. Donations are welcome or not welcome. We got a nice crew today, though, huh? Rob came in and said hello. Petty Betty's on deck. Rob says so he maybe delete them, or if he needs to monetize them. You're talking about the intimate video with your ex? Yeah. I've never had one of those, so I couldn't relate, but I don't know that it would be the best thing to do post-breakup. He wrote serious question. No, I think that would keep you glued to getting your ex back. Lucy, thanks for popping in today. Yeah, I do suggest you write in. Jesse's always on deck. Blade, glad to hear you're doing well, bud. Masala family, I'll post that video pretty soon. Jenny, I don't know if you're still on, but thank you. Windy Dawn, if you're still on. You didn't type anything today, but usually you come on at the end. Clutch came on for a bit. Jasper J says hello. Right on. Me either. Laugh out loud because he might monetize them. Shoot. Might turn it into an NFT. What do you think about that, Rob? The NFTs. Man, there's people that's the newest thing that people are making a lot of money on. Amazing. I'll wait a moment, see if there's a closing question here to pop in, and then we're gonna call it a day. Hour and 16 minutes. Pretty clean. Windy Dawn, I knew you were on. How was that, hon? I said your name, you never posted because I just had a feeling. Windy Dawn's here. So the topic was about moving on too fast. What's too fast? No, why did my ex move on so quick? There was a story, Mary. I'm saying that, in other words, they met someone else quickly after. And it happens sometimes. Usually people like that either have options waiting. They're highly attractive in one way or another, and so they have options knocking at their door right off the bat. They're in a workplace where they have access to people right away, or they're the type of people that put out very quickly. Busy night at work, but I love listening in. Makes my nights move faster. Well, thanks, Windy Dawn. I appreciate you. Where are you at again in the world, if I may ask, Windy Dawn? You in the States? South Texas, out there in Texas. She's like, we don't talk like that. Stop doing that. I'm from Texas. South Texas, there's a lot of Californians moving out here. I actually worked with a couple teachers that were from Texas. I think South Texas. Sometimes people just want to move on because they don't want to be in the breakup mood. It's true. That's how people rotate out. That's how they rotate out for sure. All right, folks, it's been a pleasure. It's been a real pleasure today. Put the logo on. Won't be on deck tomorrow, but probably in the next couple days. If you want to send your story in to writemac.com, go ahead and do it. If not, that's fine. Everyone take care. Have a good one. It's curtains.